Oh boy, guys, can't wait to test all of the new builds on this update. Oh god, with that new Rogue Guard unit and everything. No, actually, we're just going to play Feathered Assassin again because Feathered Assassin is broken. Seriously, guys, Feathered Assassin is an incredibly good spot right now. I just hit King today after having come back from holiday. Those are my stats. I don't have the best stats in the world, but 65% top 3 rate with a 32% win rate over 87 matches is pretty good. And I hit King in 87 matches, which is actually pretty solid. Now, I'm giving away a Switch and a game on the channel this month. All you need to do is like, subscribe, and hit the bell. And then, when the video notification goes live, just leave a comment on the video because the comment guarantees you the entry into the competition. And if you like PS4s, my boy Claytano, he's given away a PS4 on his channel, exactly the same conditions. Now, this is a voiceover video. I know I'm home. I know that I should be doing my usual webcam videos, but I was actually playing this game in a meeting. I was in a pretty important meeting, and it was remote. I was just sitting on there on the call, and I was like, I kind of want to play a game of auto chess. I'm like one game away from King. Let's just try and get the win. So I ended up playing this in a meeting, which meant I couldn't exactly do the voiceover of it, you know, with the webcam and everything, because I just wouldn't have been able to talk about anything going on. So this is now me doing what I like to do and assess how bad I played this game, which frankly wasn't too bad just from the outset. I had a pretty good turn 2, as you can see here. It's always nice when you get offered a goblin as a level 2 early on, so I sell the Skybreaker, whack that bad boy Heaven Bomber in because, you know, he's a bad man. Heaven Bomber is a really, really good early unit. He does 250 damage per rocket with 3 rockets. That's like 750 damage, which, you know, versus a single target is always going to kill a level 1 unit, you know, almost always. Otherwise, it's going to be, you know, pretty good damage across the game. I actually was responding in chat quite a lot this game because I was in the meeting, so if you see me talk to people in lobby and also in DMs, it's because I was just talking to people. You know, I like to be friendly. I like to talk to my fans. You know, no, this is just joking. I don't have fans. I've just got my family, which is you guys, and obviously Rupee. So I went for this combo. It's not a very good combo, I'm not gonna lie. I basically was playing a game of anything that makes my Heaven Bomber work. And I thought, well, maybe there's a chance that we could work this Heaven Bomber God into a God's build. You know, this is the start that it was looking like. You've got a God of War plus a Source plus a Heaven Bomber. It's, you know, it's looking like it's a pretty solid early potential God build. And I actually got a lot of good early units, early items as well, including the Magica Crystals, which are really, really good. Enjoy having those. I always save Magica Crystals for Razorclaw in a feathered build because, you know, we all love playing Feathered Assassin with a Refresher Orb and Razorclaw. I end up putting in the Warpwood Sage with the Phantom Queen. Phantom Queen is a really good unit by herself in the early game. She's got really good early game prowess because she does a lot of damage in an AoE area. She's magic damage. She can get through those pesky early warriors. So in general, I really love Phantom Queen as a unit. You can see it's quite a lot of damage that she just dealt. And the reason I like Warpwood Sage is for that reason there. If you can get his ability off, it provides a lot of healing to the team. So that allowed me to get through, you know, a 3 warrior build with, you know, to be honest, pretty bad level 1 units, apart from Phantom Queen. Like, Warpwood Sage isn't that good of a level 1 unit. He kind of has got very low HP, and he attacks so slow and generates mana so slow that it's very difficult to get his ability cast. But he just kind of protects my front line. Now, this is me finding Warpwood Sage again with a double Soulbreaker, which is good because obviously, you know, I just want to pair up as many things as possible. I actually end up selling off the God of War because I'm now pretty convinced that I'm just not going to use him, and instead end up picking up Red Axe Chief and Defector. When I've got 2 gold floating on this round, it's not going to do anything for me. I can't roll with it. It's not going to be used for level up. I might as well buy Red X Chief and Defector, because if I get a level 2, it's a level 2 at the end of the day. If I need to sell them next turn or in the future, that's still 2 gold. And I wasn't gonna hit a gold threshold. You know, the 10 gold threshold. So I might as well buy them, and if I get a pair, that's great. If I don't and I need to sell them to buy something else or get a level, we just sell them. It's still 2 gold. So it's not like I'm losing any gold by investing into Defector and Red Axe Chief. They're just there. That was a bit of a squeaky bum round. I very nearly lost. I obviously didn't level up on round 5 because I wanted to buy the very expensive Warpwood Sage, but alas, here we are. So now I end up picking up another Goblin, which is actually pretty good. I kind of want him. So as you can see, I have that perfect 2 gold to sell off to level up here, and that sets us up with the Goblin bonus in the early game, which is obviously incredibly strong. Finding a Goblin bonus in general is always going to be really positive. So that's set us up really nicely for the start of this game. We can transition goblins into pretty much anything. If I'm recommending a build for anybody to go, I pretty much always recommend goblins in the early game. You don't have to commit to the goblin gamble. You can transition out of goblins into something that's easier to build and doesn't rely on a legendary like goblins do. It's generally a very strong build. And I think in the early game, especially before level 7, goblins are very powerful because you're going to guarantee most of the time that the goblin buff goes onto someone relevant. And if you can 2-star as many things as possible, giving a 2-star the goblin buff is actually just insanely good. So if you get a lot of 2-stars on the board with the goblin buff in the early game, you're just giving yourself a good opportunity to get some good stuff on the board. So I'm actually in a situation here where I'm deliberating rolling. The reason I'm deliberating rolling is because I've got, as you can see, like a lot of pairs. Didn't actually work out on getting me anything, but it did end up getting me another Phantom Queen, which obviously sets me up for yet another pair. And actually pick up the Heaven Bomber as well, just in case, because actually having 2 Heaven Bombers on the field isn't too bad. And if I can get another Heaven Bomber to level 2, that's a pretty solid sort of outcome. You can see here I actually do this really funny thing with my bench. I don't know if you guys do it too, but essentially I move everything that I want to pair or actually upgrade over to the right, and everything that I'm saving or building for another time over to the left. I don't know if you guys do that as well, maybe it's just me, but that's kind of how I approach my bench management. I like to have, like, in my mind, the right hand side is going to be my paired stuff that I'm going to upgrade if I find another one. The left hand side is, this is stuff that I might want to keep for the future. So really interestingly, I find Shadowcrawler and I'm like, hey, damn, I like Shadowcrawler. Shadowcrawler is a really good addition to my lineup because that gives me the potential to go into Assassins. It also is very good for a Feathered Assassin. And then I decided, well, I really want Skybreaker and Heaven Bomber, but I don't have enough bench space, so I'm going to have to roll. And what really interestingly happened here, I was like, do you know what? We're not going to use a Phantom Queen. We're going to get rid of her eventually, probably for Lord of Sand. So let's not keep that pair. Let's go for the Ripper. And I think I made the better decision overall. I think that was the best decision I could have made because Ripper is actually a very good tank unit. And next level I can bring on my Shadowcrawler, which will give me the Assassin bonus, and I've got a really strong front line. I actually used the winning gold to buy the Taboo Witcher, which is obviously going to set me up for yet another pair. And again, this is that philosophy of the early game. Buy your stuff. I've actually started to gravitate away from that hard and fast economy rule over the last few updates because that was really good when the games tended to go quite late. But games in general at this point don't tend to go that late. From what I'm seeing, like we generally have a much quicker game mode now because a lot of people focus on builds that activate at level 8. It's actually moving and gravitating towards the style of play that we saw in Dota Auto Chess, which was basically people fought for builds that worked at level 8 and then they just upgraded their build as much as possible at level 8 and never really went to level 9 and never really went to level 10. And I'm finding that high sort of rank lobbies are generally doing that right now. I'm finding that high rank lobbies are generally following that kind of ethos of we don't we don't upgrade to level 9, we focus on getting as many 2- and 3-star units as physically possible, and that's kind of what I've found. And a lot of that also for me has been about protecting win streaks in the early game. So if I'm on a win streak, I'm actually going to spend gold to protect my win streak in the early game. I'm going to spend gold rolling to get pairs. I'm going to spend gold to early and aggressively level. You can see here that I'm just like now getting so much stuff for Feathered, it's like I can't really ignore it. As you can see here, I'm like, I like Wind Ranger. What am I getting rid of for Wind Ranger? And actually, the sensible choice is what I made here is just getting rid of the Heaven Bomber. I'm now pretty committed to a Feathered playstyle from this point forward. I found some crucial core Feathered units. and I'm not willing to move my build from this point forward. There was a potential to go for assassins. It didn't work out. Didn't get that many good assassins. There was a potential to go to the goblin gamble, but I don't really like goblin gambling. It's a very inconsistent strategy, and also requires you to get to level 9. And like I said, the kind of the game right now isn't about that. The game right now is more about getting level 8, finding a strategy that works at level 8, and just rolling your gold until you can upgrade that strategy as much as possible. And that's why Feathered Assassin fit quite nicely into that, because getting level 8 for Feathered Assassin is the build that sort of the level that you need to make this build work, including the Razor Claw. So that was the situation that I'm in. Big turn for me here. I found 2 sets of pairs, and it's enough for me to say, okay, we want Taboo Witcher in at some point. Don't really want him in over a Skybreaker. A Skybreaker is still probably more relevant than Taboo Witcher. Just replying to one of my wonderful friends. I enjoy getting messages, by the way, guys. If you're on the EU server and you want to talk to me, 09HUT. I actually, by the way, you guys might have seen there's a creator code being kind of, I guess you might have seen it, the little present box on the box on the top of the UI when you're on the menu. It says creator code. I have applied for one, so as soon as I get a creator code, I will let you guys know, and feel free to use it if you're making purchases, because it will help support me. You don't have to spend to support me. I don't want you to spend if you don't have the money. And overall, I just think, if you are spending, hey, feel free to use my creator code, because it will definitely help me out. I feel like I'm a Fortnite gamer now. Use my creator code, Excoundrel, for 10% off all your skins. I don't know. But yeah, when I get the creator code, if you want to use it, guys, feel free. It doesn't cost you any more, and it helps me out a little bit. I don't really do anything like Patreon or donations, or ask you guys for any kind of money or anything like that, because I don't really think it's like super ethical, unless I'm offering anything worthwhile, which at the moment I can't think of anything worthwhile to offer on Patreon. But I'd like to potentially use this. Creator code when it comes out. So as soon as I figure out what my creator code is and how to use it, you guys will know, and I'll let you figure out how to get involved. But yeah, back to the game. So you can see that I'm just kind of building an economy at this point in time. Because I have got such a good win, streak at this point, I'm actually going to use my gold here to level up to 7. Now, I think you probably have heard me talk about this quite a lot, but essentially, the best way to protect a win streak is by leveling, because it guarantees you an extra unit on the board. Now, it's also really good if you have a worthwhile unit bringing on, and in my case, I had a level 2 Taboo Witcher, which at round 13 is a very worthwhile unit bringing on. So I essentially said, okay, get to level 7, we bring on another worthwhile unit. We're probably out-leveling the majority of the people in this game, and this is going to help us maintain our win streak into the Wolf round, which for me is very important, because the Wolf round is going to be guaranteed income whether I beat the Wolves or not. And obviously with this composition, there's no way I'm not beating the Wolves. But in general, the Wolf round is a very good round to maintain either lose streak or win streak gold. So you want to be sure that heading into the Wolf round at round 15, you don't want to have lost your, oh my god, this guy's name. I'm so sorry, guys. I actually typed it back to him as well. What a name. How did he get away with having the name Long Dick? Oh, I'm just going to say it. How did he get away with having the name Long Dick? That's actually hilarious. Oh god. And oh man, sorry guys, let me get back on track. Yeah, so round 15 is obviously really important for maintaining and gaining extra gold income. So for winning or for losing, whatever your goal, whatever that lose streak or win streak bonus is going to be, regardless of the outcome of the Wolf round, you're going to maintain that. So that's why that neutral round is specifically really important, because after round 15, it is natural for you to either lose your win streak or your loss streak as people either catch up to you or as you get more powerful. So round 15 is usually the last neutral round that you're going to be able to activate consistently a win streak or a loss streak. So this is the point in the game where I was like, right, it's time for Feathered Assassin, because I got, or at least I was pretty committed to it anyway, but I found all the druids apart from Razor Claw here, and I was like, damn, let's just go. Let's just go full ham, Feathered Assassin. And I'm pretty close to having 6 feathered as well. I think I just need the Shining Assassin, and we're basically there. I might be streaming tomorrow, by the way, guys. Don't trust me. I actually deleted it. I do have like a lot of things to do tomorrow with Rupert and stuff, but maybe we stream tomorrow. So this is why I keep the Magica crystals, by the way, the Ring of Life, because I want to basically guarantee at least that somewhere down the line I might pick up an Orb of Refresh. It's actually much easier to get an Orb of Refresh now because they've got rid of a lot of those really crappy drops early on. Did accidentally give my Frantic Mask to my Soulbreaker, which is a bit of a yikes, but it doesn't matter because we're going to sell him, and then I'll just give that back over to the to Shadow Crawler. I actually don't even think it's that bad of a thing to give to Soulbreaker because he's got a decent attack speed. You can see here that the new item, Puppet Mask, increases magic resist by 15 and allows units within 1 grid of you to I think it's like have some form of vampirism. You can see I'm actually now considering rolling down simply because I've just got a lot of stuff, and I'm actually going to sell off the Soulbreaker now just to make space on my bench, and because I sold off Soulbreaker, I've basically lost my assassin bonus, so I might as well get rid of my assassin bonus now and just commit to that full feathered strategy. I also have a couple of things to put on my units. I've got the I need to find out what this item is called, by the way, guys. Not this one. No, not that one. Okay, no, I meant the other one. Did I just not Orb of Refresh that? Maybe I should have saved that for Orb of Refresh. Anyway, should have saved that for Orb of Refresh. I always usually like to try and combine Magica Crystals and Ring of Lives into the Orb of Refresh stuff because I think it's probably more impactful than a random magic or whatever it's called, Magica Cloak. Though, to be completely fair to you, some of the upgrades out of Magica Cloak are pretty good now, so, you know, always be aware of the fact that the new items make it pretty solid. So again, I've taken a very early level up to level 8 here. Now, why have I done that? I've done that because I want to get to level 8 so that over the next few rounds I can sort of build my... kind of build my economy back up to a good state. Interestingly enough, I was looking to go for a level 3 Wind Ranger, and I really don't think that was I don't really think that was a very good idea in general. So I think, but what would have been better was me to sell off the Wind Rangers and just buy that egg, because the egg is probably going to be more useful, and I'm more likely to activate it than anything else that I've got here. You can see that I still have a pretty strong comp at level 8. As you can see, I'm still beating a lot of the Beast Warrior comps. The mistake, again, that I made there was not buying the egg. I think the egg in general would have been a better shout. But I am starting to lose to people on the... I am starting to lose to people now, which is starting to be a bit of a yikes. I'm in a situation where that's a bit of a yikes. What is this thing called? Orb of Regen. Cool. Well, I basically like to build Orb of Regen. You can see I've got one on my Heaven Bomber. I actually would have had an Orb of Refresh if I hadn't combined for that Magic Cloak. There's a Shining Assassin, by the way, which is actually pretty pog, because now I've basically got the 6 feathered, and I can kind of make that work. I just need to... What am I going to sell here? Am I selling anything? Yeah, okay, sell Skybreaker. Good shout. Good shout. And then I just put something else on instead, and then I don't sell anything. And that was not a good shout. Never mind. We tried. So, yeah, I've basically got the 6 feathered comp now. Unfortunately, this guy had the shielding item, which... As you can see, had completely screwed me. I've lost my win streak at round 18. I have 9 gold, so I don't even have the win streak to protect me and build back up here. So I did make a little bit of an error. I don't know whether 6 feathered would have helped me win that. He's got that shielding item, which makes him very strong. But you can see I'm like, okay, let's give up on the Wind Ranger dream for now. We actually have to start building an economy again, because we kind of screwed it up a little bit. Yeah, we kind of screwed the economy up a little bit. I can now activate my my feathered bonus. I'm going to sell the Ripper because I think Heaven Bomber is still probably more useful in general, because it's going to have the targeted magic damage that could take out one of the back lines. And I built back up to 20 gold, so that over the neutral round I can get back into a state where I've got a pretty solid gold income. However, my comp sucks balls. I'm trying to be as PC as possible. My comp, like, hardcore sucks balls, because I just don't have many level 2s, don't really have that many level 3s. So I think after the neutral round, the best decision for me is to start rolling. And I think I do actually start rolling, because overall, it's just the best decision for me to make. Yes, I've got 6 feathered, but I need to get my level 3 druids online as quickly as possible. And if I was lose streaking, like this guy Shadow did, I would be in a situation where I'd probably have way more gold to play with, and I would have been able to upgrade my druids more quickly. The other thing to note is that the guy who's in, I think it's Shadow, he's Feathered Assassin as well. Or at least feathered of some sort, I know that. So I'm competing with all the druid pieces with him. And something that I have seen after playing, I think, sort of 5 or 6 games on this update, a lot of people like to play feathered on this update. It's suddenly become a super meta composition. Now, I don't blame them. I think feathered is still one of the best compositions in the game. The reason I think feathered is one of the best compositions in the game is simply because Beast Warrior is weaker, which has made feathered even stronger. People are now going back to mages, which feathered, you know, if you do well, it can go even with them. People also, with 6 hunters being nerfed heavily, you can beat 3 hunters with a good feathered assassin composition. 3 hunters are good against them if you've got a good front line, but if you have a stacked shadow crawler and a really good assassin lineup, you can beat 3 hunters pretty convincingly. So feathered assassin in general is very strong, and also, like I said, because 6 hunters just aren't a thing anymore, you have no real worries in the late game of being completely obliterated by a hunter build. You have to have that Tsunami Stalker to actually make hunters work now. So that makes Feathered Assassin even better. I actually think Feathered Assassin is probably an S tier build in this update. I think it was an S tier build before, but it's probably S plus tier build in this update. Just because all the things that did well against it generally don't do that well anymore. 9 Warriors is still very good though, just to be aware. Some of you might know that, but 9 Warriors is still very good. I'm going to give all of this to Razorclaw, by the way, just in case I find one more Ring of Life, and I'm like one item away from getting an Orb of Refresh. But yeah, some of you, I've seen on Reddit, a lot of people saying, oh, you know, I've played 9 Warriors, and they said they were going to be dead. 9 Warriors is still a very good build. 9 Warriors in general is a good build. And you'll probably find that if you're playing 9 Warriors, if you get to the stage, if you are allowed to get to the stage where 9 Warriors can be activated, you are probably going to win that game whatever you build. If I'm being completely honest with you, this is the guy that's playing the other feathered build. By the way, he's got way more level 2s than me, so he absolutely smashes me, including a level 2 Shining Assassin and a level 2 Shadow Crawler. But he's also got way less HP than me. So that's one thing that he's probably going to struggle with, is that his HP is much lower than mine. I have HP to use as a resource here, so I can lose rounds and still go. If he doesn't hit his stuff and loses 1 round, he's probably out. I don't know what I was saying. Oh, crap. I was saying something about how good Feathered Assassin is, probably. Yeah, Feathered Assassin is pretty pog. No, I was saying about Warriors. Yeah, so if you're playing 9 Warriors and you get to level 9 and you have a good amount of HP and you've got a solid Warrior comp, you're probably going to win that game whatever you played. You really didn't need to just play 9 Warriors. You probably could have played 6 Warriors, whatever you wanted. Obviously, with the addition of Rogue Guard, it's made Warriors pretty strong in general, actually. Warriors now, with Rogue Guard, you can build a really viable God Warrior build, which I'm actually really excited to try out. I think there's a really, really viable God Warrior build with Rogue Guard. I think there's some good Demon builds, although I still think Demon builds are probably pretty bad, because you rely on a Legendary, and even then, that Legendary doesn't make it that good. And there's also some good warrior builds. You can play Rogue Guard with a standard warrior build, just replace him for Doom, and actually, you know, he's going to be really strong. He fits into Beast Warrior really nicely, especially if you can somehow get him to level 2. He becomes like almost unstoppable. Stack your defensive items on him, and he becomes a bit of a monster. So I think in general he's going to be a really good addition to a lot of builds. So yeah, don't sleep on old warrior builds. They're still good. They're just not as good as they were before. Like I'm still seeing Beast Warrior win games. I mean, if I watched a guy called Purezun today, I'll actually put his Twitch link in the description below. He's a really high ranked player. He was a really, really high ranked Clash Royale player that now plays autochess. He was playing Beast Warrior today all day, really, and he was doing really well with it. Beast Warrior is still good, don't get me wrong. It's just not as obnoxious as it was before. And Feathered Assassin generally tends to crap all over it more so than it did previously as well. So you might wonder why I'm constantly switching over to Shadow. Well, first is I hope he dies so I can have his stuff. The second is I want to see what units he's got, what he's got on his bench, and what I'm competing for. I'm also checking his economy and seeing how much he's got to roll down with and how much he doesn't have to roll down with, because that's important for me as well. Because if he's got a really, really strong economy, I don't have the time to build an economy myself. I just need to keep rolling until I find the pieces. If he's rolled down, I probably have a bit more time to build an economy if I want to. In general, though, when I'm competing with someone for this kind of these kind of units, I generally just roll every round, and you're going to see me do that quite a lot, to be honest. The reason being is that I am competing on a round-by-round basis for really crucial pieces for my composition. And so I need to roll every turn to give myself the best chance of finding those pieces before he does, because every time he takes one of those pieces out of the pool, I am going to have a lower chance of finding those pieces myself. In terms of where we are in the game, I have just essentially been winning and trying to sort of protect as much of my HP as possible and then rolling. I still have a level 1 Shadow Crawler. I still have level 2 Druids. I'm really not in a strong position for a Feathered Assassin build at round 24, and you're starting to see it as well, because I'm starting to lose pretty heavily to builds that I shouldn't be losing to, like this Beast Warrior build here, who is actually using Rogue Guard, by the way. I shouldn't be losing to these types of builds, just because I'm supposed to be stronger than that versus these builds, but it's because I just don't have many defensive items on my Warpwood Sage. I don't have many level 3s yet. I'm still sitting on a level 1 Shadow Crawler, which is awful. So that's why I'm like having to roll every single round, because I just need these upgrades pretty desperately. Although I've got 50 HP, I could maybe afford to wait a bit longer. It's not really worth it, because the only thing I'd be waiting for would to build an economy up to go to potentially level 9. But I'm not going to go to level 9 this game. I'm going to level 8. I'm going to upgrade my composition as much as possible at level 8. One thing to note as well is that the difference between 0 gold and the difference between 50 gold on a round-by-round rolling basis is that you would be able to roll twice more every round at 50 gold. So you give yourself 2 more chances to find the pieces that you need. For me, it would take too long to get there, and while I'm competing for units that I could lose, it just isn't worth it. So for me, it's much better to say, let's just go in on... for me, I'm just saying, let's just go in on rolling now, because I really want to get the best case scenario outcome that I can in terms of finding those pieces. So that's what I'm doing here. You can see I'm looking for, as I said, I'm looking for, I just found the Shadow Crawler. I'm looking for the Taboo Witches now. I'm also looking for my Warpwood Sage and also my Razor Claw and Whisper Seer. You can see I've actually just found Shining Assassin, which is great. That's a really easy lock for me. And again, I'm looking at his build. I'm like, right, well, what am I competing for? He's got a lot of Taboo Witches himself. He's sitting on an almost level 3 Taboo Witcher, so that makes the chances of me finding Taboo Witcher much lower. But realistically, we both have enough Taboo Witches in the pool to be able to find Taboo Witcher ourselves. So this is the guy that smashed us earlier because he had that shielding item, which is a really annoying item, by the way, when you're playing any kind of assassin build, because it just provides a little bit of burst reflection. But now that we've got a couple of crucial upgrades, we're starting to be a bit more competitive we're starting to be a bit more competitive. You can see I'm even beating Black Cat, who's got, again, another Rogue Guard build. Shadow just gets defeated, by the way, by the God player, which is amazing for me. I also get the opportunity to build on the new items, which actually is pretty solid for Shadow Crawler, because it just means that she gets way more HP regeneration. Any kind of HP regeneration you can stack on Shadow Crawler is fantastic. So now I get a level 2 Shining Assassin, which makes my Assassin lineup pretty strong overall. I'm not going to be getting a level 3 Shadow Crawler this game. There isn't enough time in the game. There's not enough HP in the game. Very realistically, I'm going to be looking for the direct upgrades that I have in my sight, which are basically Taboo Witcher, Warpwood Sage, and Whisper Seer. And if I'm very lucky, I might be able to find a level 3 Razor Claw. Everybody's HP is pretty low in this game. What you'll notice is that this is kind of what you'll see at high rank lobbies. A lot of people's HP go very low. You'll often find there are about 6 people down at 14 HP or less, and then a couple of rounds, you know, depending on who you match up again, you end up losing or winning. That's kind of how the game's going right now. It's just because in general the player base is getting better, and that's okay. It's okay for the player base to get better. You know, in fact, I welcome it. I really do welcome it. This is Uran. He's playing a Beast Warrior build, and I just lost to it. I don't think I would have lost this if I had my level 3 Warpwood Sage and Whisper Seer, but it is what it is. You know, I'm going to lose a couple of rounds here or there. I still have a pretty healthy amount of HP to work with. 38 is 37 more than I need. I get the Warpwood Sage, which is a massive upgrade for me, and now I'm really only looking for the Whisper Seer and one more Taboo Witcher, and then Razor Claw if I can find it. And then I'm just going to basically coast and just hope for items. Like I said, I would love to get a refresh orb on my Razor Claw, because that would give me such good power in the late game, and especially if I can get him to level 3, that would be Pog champion. That would be so good. But with a level 3 Warpwood Sage, I'm actually feeling pretty confident. Like, this guy becomes a bit of a monster at level 3 with the feathered bonus because he just doesn't get hit that much. He's got a pretty decent HP total, but his healing is actually really strong as well at level 3. So if I can actually find extra defensive items on him, like, I just love some armor to start with. Like, any kind of armor for my my Warpwood Sage would be good. The reason I want armor over magic resist right now is because I'm not really facing that many mages, and there are way more Beast Warrior comps. So if I can get armor for him, it actually increases his effective HP by a massive amount because he dodges most of the hits, but if he does get hit, that hit is going to be reduced by the armor that he's got. So that's why armor is actually really important for my Warpwood Sage. Find the Whisper Seer. That's pretty good. And actually I get very lucky here because I'm like, oh, one roll. Sorry, don't get lucky here. It's another turn. There is another turn that I get lucky. I'm not spoiling it, but I might find another Shadow Crawler. I might find another Taboo Witcher. Sorry, I thought it was that turn. I know in my head I had this roll. Where I was like, "Wow, what a turn! Like this is such a big upgrade for me." And then I rolled once and I got a Taboo Witcher 3 as well. Don't know how far away that is. So this is the Gods player. This is someone that I'm a little bit concerned about because in general Gods beat Feathered pretty heavily. Mages used to beat Feathered pretty extensively, but magic resist itemization has been easier to come across now. And also the assassin part of the Feathered comp is too good for the because honestly kind of mages suck. Like mages aren't that, 3 mages in general aren't that good right now. Also you'll find that you can see that my Warpwood Sage is still surviving even at the really good ranks. I do end up losing by 1 unit, but losing by 1 unit is not that big of a deal. I lose 2 HP from a level 3 Soulbreaker. Everybody else is also getting beaten up as well. Everyone's HP is super low. We're at round 30, like we've almost knocked out the entire lobby. This is kind of how games are going right now. This is kind of how games are sitting. I'm not rolling on the neutral rounds. I don't know if you guys are really proud of me, but I'm not rolling on the neutral rounds because, you know, there's no point. You might as well just wait until the next turn. You get the free gold income. To be completely fair to you, sub 10 gold, you can roll on whatever round you want because you're not going to get anything extra. But I think out of habit, I've started to try and be more strict with kind of like what I'm rolling on a neutral round. And even if I'm sub 10 gold, it's just a good habit to say, let's not roll on the neutral round, guys. So Thunder Hides, good chance for getting some solid itemization here. Again, I just want armor. Like I just really want some armor for my Warpwood Sage because it's going to make him much better against as a tank versus the Beast Warrior compositions, and I find some Cattle Hide armor, which is nice. I like. It's not you know, it's not the best, but it's a starting place. You know, it's a starting place. I also find a Magicka Crystal, which is good for my Shining Assassin because she doesn't have any right now, and to give her that kind of ability to block a lot of damage, you really want to have her sitting on You really want to have her sitting on at least 2 Magicka Crystals. If you can spare 2 Magicka Crystals for your Shining Assassin, that's always a good thing. You can see here that I found another Razor Claw, which means I'm pretty set for a level 3 Razor Claw if I find an egg or 1 more Razor Claw, and that'll be great because, again, I'm pretty close to an Orb of Refresh with him. And I'm also, you know, again, I'm looking for 1 extra Taboo Witcher to find myself a level 3 Taboo Witcher, which is going to be great. This is the Hunter build. This is Zelok. He's the only guy playing Hunter in the lobby. As you can see, he's not playing 6 Hunters, but he is playing a Hunter build that is still pretty solid. Luckily, I am beating him because I've got my Assassin lineup, you know, pretty solid, and my Warpwood Sage is existing. My Warpwood Sage still exists. I'm going to beat him, and I'm going to be very good and buy the Unicorn so that I can sell it later. But I have now found an Orb of Refresh. I don't know if you caught that, but a Ring of Life dropped from someone going out, which gives me an Orb of Refresh, and bam, there we go, easy money. I sell the Unicorn, and guess what happens? That's the turn I was talking about. I sell the Unicorn, enough for a roll, we get a level 3 Taboo Witcher. And now our build is basically fully complete. There is nothing that we can do to upgrade this build with the economy that we've got. This is my build. This is exactly as far as it's going to go. I've got an Orb of Refresh, level 3 Razor Claw. I've got a pretty solid Shadow Crawler. She's stacked fairly well. I've got a pretty good front line. I've got some armor on my Warpwood Sage now, which is going to make him much better versus these Beast Warrior comps. And you can see we are just basically cleaning house. Especially look at my double Razor Claw bears. They are just slapping people in the head. I love the bear slap that the Razor Claw builds provide. It's just like bam, 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 slap them in the head, boys. But yeah, we're basically beating almost every build in this game now. You can see Blackhead gets locked out, Yorn gets knocked out. I basically get every single item under the sun. At this point, we're already beating Uran, but we're just going to make it. We're just going to rub it in by just building loads of random items. I build the new item here, which increases magic resist and also provides that shield. So the shielding item, I get a load of armor. I get another set of defensive items for my Taboo Witcher. I find another magic crystal for my Shining Assassin. I've got more armor for my Warpwood Sage, plus a couple of shields here and there. Like, we're just super strong now. Like, there's no way a Beast Warrior build beats this at this point in time. Even with his silly little hexing. He hexed my Lord of Sand as well, so I don't even really care about that. And plus we have the shield, which activates now nicely too. That shield comes online just like the shield that he's got, and with the double bear from the Razor Claw, plus the fact that in general Feathered Assassins will beat Beast Warriors almost all of the time. We are in a gravy spot. And I think what I want you to take away from this is that we actually never built an economy past level 8. We never, ever, ever built an economy past level 8. We didn't get back up to 50 gold. We just rolled relentlessly for upgrades. And that's kind of where the meta is at right now. We're all about rolling for upgrades. It's all about a level 8 spiking build. Feathered Assassin is still absolutely ridiculous. So build Feathered Assassin if you can. I still think it's one of the best builds in the game. And there we go. There we have it. That's my... a game that got me to King on the new update, and I'm so glad I enjoyed all of those new builds like Feathered Assassin.